The laughter cracked through the cafe like breaking glass. It wasn't the joyful kind. It was sharp, deliberate, designed to be heard. Forks paused midair. Conversations thinned into whispers. Sunlight poured through the wide front windows, reflecting off polished tables and stainless steel counters, making the space look warm and harmless. But in the corner by the window, a man sat frozen. His name was Daniel Reeves. Across from him sat his 8-year-old son Noah, clutching a spoon with small trembling fingers. And standing a few steps away, grinning as if cruelty were a performance, was a man who thought he owned the room. Before we go further, if you believe in quiet strength, in fathers who fight battles no one sees, and in moments that remind us what real courage looks like, take a second to like this video, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel Silent Echo Stories. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Now let me tell you what really happened that afternoon. Daniel chose that cafe every Thursday. Not because it was fancy. It wasn't. Not because it was cheap. It wasn't that either. He chose it because the table near the window caught the afternoon sun just right. Noah liked to watch the buses pass by while finishing his homework. The light made everything feel softer, almost safe. Daniel needed that illusion of safety. 3 years earlier, he had buried his wife. Cancer. Fast, merciless, unfair. Since then, life had become a carefully balanced equation. Night shifts at a logistics warehouse. School drop-offs, packed lunches, laundry at midnight, homework at the kitchen table. Grief never really left. It just learned how to sit quietly in the background. That afternoon, Noah had spilled sugar across the table while trying to sweeten his hot chocolate. His hands were small, still learning coordination. "It's okay," Daniel whispered gently, steadying the cup before it tipped. He always spoke softly to his son, as if the world was already loud enough. That was when Trevor Blake noticed them. Trevor was the type of man who mistook volume for authority. Expensive jacket, polished shoes, a watch that flashed when he gestured too broadly. He stood near the counter with 2 co-workers, laughing louder than necessary. His eyes landed on Daniel, then on Noah, and something shifted. It started with a smirk, then a comment. "Didn't know this place was daycare now," Trevor said loudly. A few uneasy laughs followed. Daniel kept his eyes on Noah. Ignore it. He had learned that long ago. But Trevor wasn't finished. "Rough night, buddy," he added, looking Daniel up and down. "Or rough life?" The words carried just enough venom to sting. Noah went quiet. The cafe shifted uncomfortably. People sensed the line being crossed but waited for someone else to intervene. They always did. Daniel felt the old heat rising in his chest. Not anger at first, shame. Shame that his son was learning this side of the world so early. Shame that he couldn't shield him from everything. Trevor took a few steps closer, emboldened by the silence of others. "Single dad?" he asked mockingly. "Must be tough. Guess someone couldn't stick around." The comment landed harder than he knew. Daniel's fingers tightened around the mug. In another life, he had been called something else. He had worn a different name stitched onto a uniform that didn't officially exist. He had trained in places most people couldn't pronounce, under instructors who believed mistakes were lessons written in blood. He had moved through darkness with precision. He had learned how to assess threats in seconds, how to end danger before it escalated, but that life had been folded away. He left it behind the day Noah was born. He promised himself his son would never see that version of him. So he breathed, slow, controlled, the hum of the espresso machine, the scrape of a chair, the faint hiss of milk steaming. "Ground yourself." Trevor stepped closer, his shadow stretching over the table. "Don't worry," he said loudly. "Kid'll toughen up. World's not kind to soft men." That was when Noah's chair wobbled slightly as he shifted back, startled. Time slowed. Daniel moved. Not fast in a dramatic way. Smooth. Efficient. His hand caught the chair before it tipped. His other hand gently guided Noah behind him, He stood. But it wasn't just standing, it was alignment. Feet angled slightly, weight balanced. Shoulders relaxed but ready. Eyes steady. Anyone with military training would have recognized it instantly. Protective stance, non-aggressive, but absolute. Trevor's grin faltered. He had expected shouting, maybe tears. Maybe pleading, not this. Not the calm of someone who knew exactly what they were capable of. Daniel didn't raise his voice. Didn't threaten, didn't insult. He simply looked at him. And in that look was something Trevor had never encountered before. Control. Complete control. "This ends now," Daniel said quietly. Not loud, but final. The café felt smaller somehow. Trevor shifted his weight. Suddenly, the room didn't belong to him anymore. He took a step back. "Relax, man. Just joking." Daniel didn't move. Didn't blink. The silence pressed heavier than any argument could. Trevor's friends avoided eye contact. The manager hurried over, face pale, offering apologies, asking if security should be called. Daniel shook his head. "It's handled." Trevor muttered something under his breath and retreated, his laughter gone. The bully who fed on humiliation had been undone by composure. Daniel knelt beside Noah again. "It's okay," he said softly. Noah nodded. Around them, something shifted. A woman near the window wiped her eyes discreetly. An older man gave Daniel a small nod of respect. Kindness hadn't been loud, but it had been powerful. They finished their drinks in silence, sunlight warming the table once more. Outside, as they walked home, Noah's hand gripped Daniel's tighter than usual. "Dad?" he asked after a while. "Yeah? Were you scared?" Daniel thought about it. "Yes," he said honestly. "But being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you stay calm anyway." Noah nodded thoughtfully. That night, after Noah fell asleep, Daniel sat alone at the kitchen table. His knees ached, old injuries that never fully healed. His body carried memories of miles run under heavy packs, of nights scanning unfamiliar horizons, of friends whose names were etched into silence. He thought about the life he left behind. He had survived things most people would never understand. But raising Noah? That was the hardest mission of all. Because love is a different kind of battlefield. There are no helmets for heartbreak, no armor for loss, only patience and presence. The next afternoon, something unexpected happened. The cafe manager called. A customer had posted a video online, not of Trevor, but of Daniel, the moment he stood. The way he protected his son without violence, the quiet command in his posture. The video had spread. Thousands of comments. People calling him an example of real masculinity, real strength. Daniel stared at the screen for a long time. He hadn't wanted attention. He had only wanted peace, but maybe the world needed reminders. That strength doesn't shout. It doesn't humiliate. It doesn't belittle. It protects. Weeks later, Trevor returned to the cafe, this time alone. He spotted Daniel by the window again, hesitated, then approached. "I was out of line," Trevor said awkwardly. Daniel studied him. Silence stretched. "Yeah," Daniel replied simply. Another pause. "I'm sorry." Daniel nodded once. "Make it better next time." That was it. No drama, no speech, just accountability. Because sometimes the strongest statement isn't domination, it's restraint. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of a father, a mother, or someone quietly carrying more than the world knows, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Silent Echo Stories. Share where you're watching from. And tell us in the comments, what does real strength mean to you? Because the world doesn't need louder bullies. It needs calmer protectors. And sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one who never raises his voice.